We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM, KKJZ, HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, and now, our World Broadcasting Tag Team Champions of the World and a Cruiserweight Champion.
I'm Ethan.
I'm James.
I'm Rob.
And this is episode 162 of Beyond the Ropes. Welcome to season 8 of We Are BTR. Over here, as you can see my background, the beautiful new logo for this season. And then we've got, of course, Rob. I don't know where that's from. That's a Pizza Hut commercial or something. Oh my goodness. That's from like 2 years ago, sir.
How do you remember that?
I saw the pizza box there. I don't know. But anyways, you can find me on social media. Twitter at EthanW95. You can follow James at
JHW Reporter.
And you can follow Rob at
Rob Flores Media, and don't forget the R-Truth DMs for Ethan.
Nope. Failed to capture that title again. And of course, you can find us on Twitter at RealBTR Radio, Facebook.com/Beyond the Ropes, and of course, YouTube. Just search up Beyond the Ropes, and you'll find over 160 episodes currently uploaded there. Before we get into the big show that we do have planned today, James, I know wanted to speak on something, so the floor is yours.
Yeah, I just before we get started, I just learned about the passing of AD, someone I followed on Twitter for years, and he used to write for my website when I was first starting back in 2015. Anyways, he went on to be a video assistant for the LA Clippers. He moved out here in like 2019. In 2019 from New Jersey, I believe. And started as an intern, moved up. Sadly, he passed away on Monday in a car accident here in LA. Like I said, was a sports fan, was a wrestling fan. We tweeted about wrestling and stuff quite a bit. So again, just kind of learned about the news, unfortunately, not too long ago. So I'm still kind of like all over the place with it. But, with it being the start of season 8 and whatnot, obviously, I would like to dedicate what we do throughout the season 8, to AD, and just thoughts and prayers to his family. And so rest in peace to AD. And as I'm sure he would want to just continue on with the show and talking about something that I know he was a fan of himself, and that is pro wrestling. And that's what we're going to do here today.
All right. Let's talk about Extreme Rules, shall we? Kick it off. James, you and I had the same predictions.
Okay, let's talk about it real quick.
Go ahead.
I'm a little upset. I'm looking at I'm minding my business. I'm on the Twitter machine. I see this tweet from BTR Radio, and I'm like, okay, this is the predictions I put in, right? It says Ethan and JHW Reporter, and then I see Rob's separately, and I'm like, when did we get all the predictions in one tweet? And then I'm like, what? He copied me. So let alone the fact that you asked me for my predictions, you take my predictions, and then you just slap your name on it and call them your own.
We had the same predictions, sir. Come on now.
Every single prediction? Really?
Yeah. I actually agreed with every single prediction.
Of course you did, because I'm right.
I mean, maybe I thought of them first, and then you just,
No, you asked me for my predictions, and then you go ahead and you post them as our predictions. No.
I wanted to fit it all in one tweet. Okay, sir.
So did you really just copy and paste my predictions?
I mean, pretty much. But no, I had the same predictions. If I disagreed, I would have been, no, that's wrong. I would have completely done something different. I would have made a separate list. But I agreed with all of them. So
I suggest going forward, we write them all down.
You all right? You want to write them all down?
And we put them in an envelope, and then we send them to the whoever does the Grammys and the ballots for all that other stuff, and they open them and it's secret because you're cheating.
I don't think so, sir. Let's get into Extreme Rules, shall we? Get into some business.
Cheater.
We're running out of time. I don't want to run out of time today because today is a very important day. See, I acknowledge Roman Reigns as my tribal chief, and tonight I expect 2 other individuals on this program to do the same, or else I'm out of here. I'm not gonna be here the rest of season 8. So we need some time for that later on. So let's get into Extreme Rules really quick. Let's do this recap. It was a decent show. It wasn't the best show, but it was fine. Kicked off on the kickoff show.
Wait a minute. People were saying, well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it after, because
We'll
Go
talk
ahead.
about it. Okay, sir. All right.
Go ahead.
Carmella versus Liv Morgan on the Extreme Rules kickoff show. I mean, looks like they're pushing that Liv Morgan. Maybe we'll see something on SmackDown. Maybe she'll be involved in the draft. Maybe not. But fun little match there to kick off the show. She hit the double knees to the face, and then hit that Oblivion to get the victory over on Carmella. So nothing too crazy, but it was a solid match. The show kicked off with an impromptu. Well, I guess it was announced during the kickoff show, and I asked you guys actually like right when I found out.
Yeah.
Luckily, we got it in before the match started. So it was the New Day, of course, WWE Champion Big E, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods taking on the former champion Bobby Lashley, AJ Styles, and Omos. This was a fun 6-man tag, kind of out of nowhere as expected. Obviously, Big E not defending his title as he would the next night. And we'll talk about Monday Night Raw and everything that occurred because it was a solid episode of Monday Night Raw. I think they're doing last couple of weeks have been fantastic. So this match actually ended up with Big E pinning the former WWE champion Bobby Lashley, hitting that big ending. Thanks to he ended up hitting AJ with the spear, and then kind of got distracted from that point, so that cost them the match there. Let's see. Next up on the card, we did have the Usos defending their SmackDown Tag Team Championships against the Street Profits. As expected, these 2 teams have faced off with one another for a couple of times, and they kill it every time. Of course, the Usos representing the Bloodline. No surprise, they steal the show up until the main event, of course. Up until the main event. We'll get to the main event, sir. I don't know why you're shaking your head like that. You need to learn to acknowledge the Usos are a part of the Bloodline. They're a part of Roman Reigns, the family. So I need you to show
Main
them
event
respect.
Jay is being held back.
He's being held back, sir. You think so?
Yeah, I know so.
All right. Well, the Usos ended up retaining those tag team titles, hitting a double splash on, I believe it was Montez Ford, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it was Montez Ford. And just to catch us up on predictions, we actually all predicted Liv Morgan, the New Day, and the Usos winning their respective matches. So there we go. Next up, we had the Raw Women's Championship match between Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. This was a decent enough match here. It's nice to see Alexa Bliss wrestle. We don't get to see her wrestle very often.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're kind of right because she doesn't really wrestle a whole lot. And now that she has, who knows what's next?
Exactly. She lost to Charlotte Flair thanks to some natural selection. And after the match, Charlotte ripped apart Lily. R.I.P. Lily.
That was tough. I mean, they didn't stand a chance. Had her by the threads.
Rob was heartbroken. Rob was heartbroken because Alexa Bliss lost. He predicted Alexa Bliss here. You and I obviously predicted Charlotte. But yeah, it was interesting. And after the fact, Alexa Bliss apparently had a little breakdown.
It was great. It was a great sell by Alexa Bliss on that whole
Mhm.
thing there. There was one thing she did. I'm forgetting, but I knew I wanted to mention on the show. She did some little pout or something when she was like on the stage with the
remnants of
with whatever was left of Lily. But yeah, no, a good sell by her, and I'm just curious to know what direction they're gonna go with her. Listening back before the match when they kind of were recapping what happened going into that, they kind of mentioned where they talked about originality and whatnot, and kind of talking about the that's not almost, that wasn't your gimmick to begin with kind of deal. So maybe that's kind of part of what they were, maybe why we're getting a gimmick change, what's going to happen here. I mean, when you kind of rip up Lily, there's no going back. I mean, maybe she sews her up, but you might find that on sale in the shop pretty soon too at this point.
Possibly. We did get a Charlie doll on WWE shop, Charlotte Flair's version of the doll.
It did make it into the shop.
It did make it into the shop. Yeah, it was a buzz.
Okay.
But yes, there were also some speculation, some rumors that Alexa Bliss would be taking time off.
Okay.
Of this write-off, and also a potential, as you mentioned, change in character, which I would kind of be all about at this point. I would be fine having her go back or lose the supernatural aspect of it. I'm kind of over it already, especially with Bray Wyatt gone. I just don't think it's necessary to really go in that direction anymore.
Yeah, I think so as well. I think he was, and there was kind of like some rumors going around of Bray. Well, I guess Dave Meltzer put it out that Bray Wyatt wasn't going to be on AEW tonight. I guess we're getting closer to him maybe landing somewhere sometime soon.
His 90-day no-compete clause, I believe, is still intact, so he can't. I think I heard end of October. So
okay.
We'll see where he lands. But yeah, hopefully Alexa Bliss, if she is taking time off, she gets the time off needed, and then she comes back and rejuvenated and everything. So next up, we had a triple threat match for the U.S. title. Damian Priest defended against Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. As soon as the match started, Sheamus kicked Hardy out of the ring. Basically had a one-on-one for a little bit. Hardy made a comeback and took out Sheamus with a dive from the apron. Priest then took out both men with the flip over the top rope that he normally does, and then hit a broken arrow on Jeff at one point. Sheamus caught Priest at ringside, and hit his head in the post, and before he hit Hardy with an Irish Curse backbreaker there. And at one point, Hardy hit both men with the swanton, but wasn't able to follow up with a pin. Priest was able to eventually hit the Reckoning on Sheamus, I believe. So successfully retained the title after the match. People were really into Hardy. They were chanting Hardy throughout the match. Obviously, Hardy's still very much over. Hopefully, we'll get to see something very soon from him.
I mean, I think the thing with Hardy is, I mean, I don't know if this is his final run or what, but I think, just kind of the way he'd been treated, I think they had him trying to chase the 24/7 title for a minute. It's kind of like a response and a rally to get him out of that situation. But hey, I got something interesting that I kind of found out in doing a little bit of research for what we have kind of planned later. But is it not called the United States title anymore?
I believe it is the United States Championship, yeah.
On the website, it says the American Championship.
The American Championship on WWE.com?
Yeah, Damian Priest, American Championship, if you look at the roster. But then it also had something funky on, like, almost, like his name was like We Here. I don't know if that's something new, but maybe that was a typo. I don't know. But yeah, for Damian Priest, it said American Champion. So I didn't notice that anywhere. Yeah, I saw that
It
today.
said United States champion.
Yeah, I don't know why they would have gone away from it. If anything, and I mean, American and United States, it's not like you're breaking any new ground there or anything, or being that drastic of a change. So just something I saw interesting. But it's, I mean, it's not really. I don't think it would be a typo, or I don't know. Yeah, I thought maybe I missed something there or something. So definitely wanted to ask about that, but it sounds like that's not the case.
No, it doesn't seem like it, at least not now. So, next up, we did have Becky Lynch defend her SmackDown Women's Championship against Bianca Belair. Great of Becky to carry Belair to a solid match here. You know,
Wow! I cannot with you.
You know, solid match. And then we had
I'm upset.
This bum over here. We had this bum Sasha Banks show up after lazy Miss SummerSlam. Becky had to fill in for her. She decides to show back up. Hopefully she's vaccinated this time. I hope so. Little
I mean, she's probably immune if anything, but
she wears a mask at least.
Huh?
I hope she wears a mask at least.
I guess. Yeah,
anyway,
I think we're about to
Hugo wins this match. Becky was closing in on a victory here.
I don't think it was happening that way.
Really? Because you predicted Becky would win here.
Yes, I did predict Becky was going to win, because you don't change the championship for something like you're not going to do it at Extreme Rules. You're not going to do it. SummerSlam, a Survivor Series, something. Maybe Becky Lynch just won the title, so they're not going to give it up soon. Not going to have her job out soon. She's not leaving anywhere in the draft. She just got back. She's pretty stable, I think, where she's at. Again, just coming back. I don't think. I wasn't a fan of it. I just didn't think it was going to be the right move, and obviously, it's the move they didn't decide to go, or they didn't decide to change the titles here. So, kind of expected it.
Well, that dirty Sasha Banks took out both Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair. And we'll see if she shows up on SmackDown. Maybe she calls out sick again or something. I don't know.
What did she do to you?
Well, I don't know. I mean, she no-showed. She no-showed SummerSlam. Come on now.
Yeah, but she was sick.
We don't know actually for the reason. But she probably was sick.
No, I mean, yeah, I know.
I think she was. She did have. Yes.
Assuming that's the case, but I mean.
But yeah, so when we return, we're going to talk about our tribal chief Roman Reigns versus a demon right here on Beyond the Ropes. We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM KKJZ HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to episode 162 of Beyond the Ropes. This is the season 8 premiere of BTR. I'm your host, Ethan, joined alongside the analyst, James Williams, and producer, Rob Flores. Still doing this virtually for I don't know how long, but we're going to keep doing it. We're going to keep bringing it to you all season long, somehow, some way. You can find me on Twitter at Ethan95. You can follow James at
JHW Reporter.
And you can follow Rob at
Rob Flores Media. And don't forget the R2 DMs for Ethan.
And of course, at Real BTR Radio for the entire show. Check out our new little logo here. Very proud of it. Let's finish up Extreme Rules. The main event kicked off with our tribal chief, the head of the table, Roman Reigns, the Universal Champion, came out. Huge ovation. Huge. Then we had the Demon, Finn Balor. They're really just calling him the Demon when he's a demon, so it's fine, I guess. I mean, he's a demon, but it's just weird. He's still Finn Balor. But anyways, this was a fantastic match. I mean, let's see. Let me look at some notes here. By the way, I'm getting some notes here from.
Yeah, while I get some notes. Yeah, it was kind of interesting. They tried something a little different this time, I feel. Obviously with the finish, as we'll get into here in a minute, but yeah, I mean, a solid match for what it was. They went quite a while before Roman needed a crutch, but
Sir, it's an Extreme Rules match. I forgot to mention, it is an Extreme Rules match. There are no rules, no countouts, no disqualifications, pinfall submissions in the ring. No, it was not like Moxley Deathmatch Explosion. That was a fart. This was.
It was a
highest,
PG. It was
there
a
was
PG
someone-
Extreme Rules match.
There was someone watching over Roman Reigns. I don't know if you noticed it.
Yeah, can we talk about that for a minute?
All right, so let me get to the end of the match really quick. They did a number of spots.
Okay.
Oh, first off, before we even get to the end of the match, let's acknowledge Roman Reigns putting on a mask right before he went into the crowd with those dirty, disgusting individuals in the audience. Did you see him put it on?
I must have missed this. When
You
was
must
this?
have missed this because he put on the mask. He asked Paul Heyman for a mask. He brought out a mask, put it on when he got into the crowd, and they
In
fought.
like mid-match?
Yeah, when they went into the crowd, they went into the kickoff show panel desk. There was a table spot where Balor dropped Roman onto the table. But yeah, he wore the mask the entire time until he got back into the ring.
I probably went to go get something to eat or something.
Shame on you for taking a break during the Roman Reigns match.
I thought this was like the bathroom break or something.
Oh my goodness. No, but anyways, I applaud. Everyone was clapping and cheering for Roman Reigns wearing the mask. On Twitter as well, everybody was like, "What?" They were acknowledging Roman Reigns, and they appreciated that he put on the mask.
Well, if he's gonna be the tribal chief, he at least got to set a good example.
Set a good example, absolutely. So, I almost feel like wearing a mask right now because I don't know where you two have been. So I just,
what?
I don't know. I don't want anything coming through the computer screen here. So,
got cooties. Don't you got an antivirus or something?
What is that?
Turn your antivirus on.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You should probably turn that on. You're hilarious, sir.
I'm funny. I am funny.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, toward the end of the match, the Usos did get involved.
Yeah, cheaters.
And then, so Roman speared the demon through the barricade. Both guys were down, and then we hear a heartbeat, and Balor's getting that second wind, and his music starts playing, which is I loved it.
This is the first time this has ever happened, right?
This is the first time this ever happened. Okay. He got some adrenaline, took out the Usos, put them through the table, started going after Reigns. I loved it. The music was playing the entire time. Fantastic. Yeah. I love that part. I don't care. It was all red. And then he got to the top rope. Smoke was filling everything. And he was standing there for a minute. And I was like, can he not see? Is Roman getting out of the way? What's going on? And then I thought it was funny because the turnbuckle broke. And immediately when it broke, the lights went back to normal. The music's cut off. I'm like,
and that's why I was like,
oh no. I loved it. Balor was obviously confused when he got up. He got hit with a spear. 1, 2, 3. Roman was all confused. He kind of looked up. He acknowledged someone was watching him.
Yeah. So there's a few things there. Okay, so yeah. When the lights came back on, as soon as the buckle popped, I'm just like, no.
Maybe it was too much power. Or maybe it was Sheamus, who was on that same top rope early in the evening, fooling around, doing the Jeff Hardy dance on the top rope, mocking it, loosening up that rope.
You know what? Because I wondered about something like that. If someone else had been on that turnbuckle during the night, I just couldn't remember. Because you're not keeping track of those things because you don't know that's going to happen. Mm-hmm. But it reminded me of the British Bulldog back in the day. I think it was in WCW or something. He ended up having a back injury because they had some sort of trap door for another segment or match later on in the night of whatever show it was. So they were telling people not to do any sort of moves or go anywhere on this part of the ring where this door is. Mm-hmm. Anyways, he ends up getting picked up and slammed on the door, and he messed up his back, and that's why I think he was taking like pain pills or whatever. Anyways, so it kind of reminded me of that, where I'm like, did they tell him to stay off that turnbuckle the whole night? I'm curious if anyone was on it, if it was that faulty, or what they were gonna do there. So yeah, but again, I was okay with him standing up there for a minute, just because it's kind of like it's foggy. I can't see him. I can imagine he can't see, but it's kind of like, let alone before the lights can come on, it kind of kills the momentum when you're on this rush and this momentum of adrenaline and whatnot, and then you are all in a hurry. You get up there and then you're standing there, and then the buckle pops and the lights come on, and it really kind of just killed it. And then I really thought that Finn got hurt there, because he was down. He was holding his leg. I thought maybe the landing, he might have actually tore an ACL or something with an MCL or whatever there. I don't think that was eventually the case. He got up and I think was okay. Guess he took the spear after that. But yeah, so just an interesting sequence there. Again, I give him credit for trying to do something different. I can't really remember. I'm sure it's happened before where the buckle popped before or just kind of fell down. It was kind of, it was weird. It was kind of sudden. I wish if you're gonna go ahead.
They tried to protect the demon a little bit.
They did, but it's just like when you're doing something that with adrenaline and momentum and all that, you almost I kind of thought, okay, you got this going for you. How is Roman Reigns gonna stop this? Because you knew you knew Roman was gonna end up coming out on top in this match. So it was just kind of curious how he was going to get away or get out of the whole situation. And so, okay, it kind of, it worked out for what it was. But I guess I just think it's kind of dumb that there's been a lot of other opportunities in which you could have had the demon come back and they just didn't. And then they had this be what happened. And another thing, too, maybe I've missed it. Maybe I've just been busy with UCLA football. But when has Roman started praising God in the Most High? Because I thought the whole point of the gimmick with the tribal chief and whatnot was he was all high and mighty, and he was as high as it got. But now he's praising God after winning the match and pointing above.
He just pointed above. Well, first off, the one they've been doing the ones.
They've been doing that, but he did say he looked up and said, thank God. Like, he literally did. He said that. And I'm like, wait.
God doesn't like demons, apparently. So.
But I just thought Roman was the guy. But now he's praising someone else. So now
he's a tribal chief. He's a tribal chief. So.
Well, I mean, you're tribal chief. You're supposed to be acknowledging this man. He's not. If I'm supposed to be acknowledging someone, I'm not going to acknowledge him if he's some chump.
He can acknowledge the gods.
He's not the head of the table if he's.
He's the head of the table.
No, he's not.
If he's the head of the table,
not if he's looking up. There's someone else at the head of the table.
What? You can't appreciate what's up there, sir? Is that what you're telling me? Is that you can't appreciate?
No, I'm just saying if I'm acknowledging anybody, it isn't going to be Roman Reigns because he's not at the head of the table anymore.
He clearly is still the head of the table.
No, he's not.
Chosen one. If God helped him win, he's clearly the chosen one. He's God's favorite child.
Listen. God's been in some matches before. I think he was a partner with either Hogan or Vince or something at one point.
He jobbed out to Vince.
I mean, I know God's a wrestling fan. He's been on the roster. He's been in a match. I get it. And I'm not discounting his role in the industry, but it just kind of reminds me of like some Undertaker gimmick where it's like you think the Undertaker's the one calling the shots, but there's apparently someone higher than him, and that's where I feel like we're getting at here.
Well, he's bigger than the Undertaker, but
Roman's been there for 5 years or so, maybe a little longer, and the Undertaker's been there Roman Reigns' whole life, like literally. So get right.
Look, I don't know what to tell you, all right? Nothing wrong with
that's the thing. You don't because you're just making stuff up.
Right?
You're just making stuff up at this point.
I'm sure we'll get an explanation on SmackDown. And speaking of SmackDown, we're going to kick off the draft this Friday night on SmackDown. So let's give our predictions here. We got a few minutes here.
Okay.
All right. How do we want to do this? Do we just want to all go through?
I say we all just do one. You do one show at a time. You start with
Okay.
NXT. Everyone announces theirs, and then we just kind of do that.
All right. So from Raw to SmackDown, who wants to go first?
From Raw and SmackDown. You
Raw
want
to
do
SmackDown.
that? Rob's asking if we should do this after the break. I think we can at least do.
You want
one
to save
event
it then? All right. Do you want to save it? We can save it after the break, really quick. We'll talk about Raw. We'll talk about Raw really quick. We'll just mention some of the highlights for Raw. Big E and Lashley kicked off for the WWE Championship, but then those bums came back. Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander putting on their Hurt Business t-shirts after acting like they didn't get kicked out like 6 months ago. Trying to get back on TV here, trying to help Lashley win that title.
Hey, times are hard. Times are hard. You do what you got to do.
Apparently, anyways, the Hurt Business is back in business, I guess.
Yeah,
he's MIA. You know, he's recovering from that rib injury.
Mm-hmm.
But the New Day came out. That led to a steel cage match in the main event because the match ended up as a no contest. So Big E versus Lashley in a steel cage in the main event. I mentioned it last week. The tag team of Angel Garza and Alberto Carrillo, they look great. Angel just had a singles match, but I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to do later on as a tag team. Charlotte Flair had a championship match defending against Doudrop in an open challenge. Eva Marie, of course, the Evolution interrupted the match and distracted Doudrop. However, after the match, Shayna Baszler came out. New attitude Shayna Baszler, and injured her arm.
That was nasty.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad. Apparently, there was an interview on WWE.com afterwards saying she didn't really enjoy what she did to Nia Jax because she was a friend. But this week, she enjoyed it. So yeah, poor Eva Marie suffered an injury there. We'll see what goes on with her afterwards. But I'm glad that we're seeing this dangerous Shayna Baszler once again, like we did in NXT, because she used to do that as well in NXT. So, what else happened? Damian Priest defended the United States Championship against Sheamus in a no disqualification match. Brutal match. It was a huge white noise table spot. Brutal landing. But it was ultimately Sheamus going through a table and then getting hit with the Reckoning. Priest retained the championship. Sheamus is out of that picture. I'm going to assume one of them is probably going to get drafted to the other show. Seemed like they wrapped that up for sure. Speaking of Sheamus, he did break his nose again. He posted a picture of it.
He legit broke his nose. Broke his
nose again. And he posted a picture in the hospital bed. So
that's tough.
Got more surgery done, I'm sure.
Dang.
Yeah.
Poor fella.
Poor fella.
His nose is hanging like that at this point.
Probably.
He's gonna have a nose like Michael Jackson. He's gonna have to take his nose off at night.
Oh Lord. Well, like Wade Barrett, but Wade Barrett broke his nose like 12 times. He said it's crooked. If you notice it, it's crooked.
I think I remember that, but that just kind of goes with their style, with him and William Regal, and everything that they do.
Those guys, yeah, absolutely. We also had what else do we have? I'm completely forgetting what we had. What was on Raw last night? Drawing a blank, sir. Drawing a blank. Oh, AJ Styles versus Riddle. Phenomenal match. These guys just pull out move after move after move. Moves that we don't see every single match, which is awesome. AJ Styles obviously had to almost watch his back. Randy Orton had the week off. Took some time off. Much needed break. The Viper needs a break once in a while, especially from Riddle. But AJ hit that Styles clash after hitting a burning hammer, a very devastating looking burning hammer. And then hit that, got that Styles clash for the victory. So I'm assuming they're going to face off for the tag titles at some point. I wouldn't be surprised if one of those teams get drafted to SmackDown either as well to kind of end that feud.
Is that all we have for Raw or no?
No, we have Bill Goldberg was back.
Nope, that's it. We're done.
Had a promo on Lashley saying he was going to kill him. He's gonna murder Lashley on live television.
I heard something about that.
He's gonna defend Gage.
Setting a great example for his kid, huh?
He's defending Gage Goldberg. All right, the future star here.
Not if your father's gonna be a murderer.
Well, I'm sure it's a little excessive, but
how does he go back to school and say like, "Oh yeah, my dad threatened to kill Bobby Lashley on live TV"?
It would fit in with the theme at Crown Jewel.
Ooh.
the real life Halloween Havoc. Anyways, when we return, we're gonna hit this predictions draft that we're gonna be doing, and then hopefully we'll get to hear some acknowledgments right here on Beyond the Ropes. We are 22S Radio. 22S Radio is 22smedia.com and 88.1 FM at KKJZ HD3, Long Beach, Los Angeles. Welcome back to episode 162 of Beyond the Ropes. This is the season 8 premiere. I am your host, Ethan. You can find me on Twitter at Ethan9095. You can follow James at
JHW Reporter.
And you can follow Rob at
Rob Flores Media, and don't forget the R250 ends for Ethan.
You can find us at Real BTR Radio collectively. I have some ratings here. Dynamite last week had 1.273 million people watching, so it was pretty good. That was also the big New York show they had, Bryan Danielson's first match. So there you go. Rampage had 640,000. The lowest show.
How much?
On television. 640,000.
That's still not bad.
NXT this week had 655,000.
Oh.
We can blame Braun Breaker because the big ratings draw. Braun Breaker wasn't on TV this week, so.
Well, yeah. Well, why not?
He had a little video package. Apparently, they can say a new word. Seth learned because he watched it and.
Wait, what?
Go check out his Twitter. Go check out his Twitter. Yeah, that's funny. Right. Raw had a 1.7 million, which is not bad. SmackDown continues to be the A show. Of course, Roman Reigns is on television with the 2.135. There you go.
A what?
2.135.
Oh, I thought you said 3 points. I was like, oh,
I mean, possibly. So
you never know.
All right.
Real quick, did you watch the Omega Daniel Bryan match or?
I did not. I heard it was a time limit draw, so I lost interest right away.
Lord, not right.
I lost interest right away.
I had heard something, but yeah, I mean, they're not gonna have him lose. I mean, hey, I don't know when the last time I saw a time limit draw was, so that's kind of cool. But
they've done it once. They did it with Pac and Moxley, I think. It's the other time I remember them doing it, but yeah, I'm like, I see. Anyways, let's get into our draft predictions here. Let's talk about superstars from Raw who we think are going to end up on SmackDown, shall we?
So we're going Raw to SmackDown first?
Raw to SmackDown first.
All right.
Or who we want or who we think is going to show up. Maybe give a little quick reason. Don't need a long explanation. Just give them a quick reason. I'll start first.
Okay.
First person I think should head on over. Let's move Asuka over there. She's been out with a little injury. I'm hoping she'll be back very soon. But as long as Charlotte Flair is women's champion on Raw, Asuka does not need to be there. They face each other several times, and generally does not go well for Asuka. So I think she could go over to SmackDown, have some good matches with Becky, and a few other competitors there. Next up, Jeff Hardy. guy who's kind of been in limbo. They recently added him to that U.S. title picture after, some internet buzz. Now he's kind of out of that picture again. Let's rebuild him over on SmackDown. Let's get him in a feud with the Tribal Chief. Roman Reigns will bring him back up. I would like to see that. So, Ricochet is the third person, I predict. He was fighting Reggie. That's something else that happened this week.
Yeah.
He competed against Reggie in a 24/7 title match that ended in a no contest. By the way, I think R-Truth might be a heel now because he's working with heels. So, I don't know.
Yeah, and then he'll realize that he's working with heels after a while, and then be like, "Wait a minute."
Yeah, so let's move Ricochet over. Maybe put him in the IC title picture. Let's get him something to do over there. Sheamus just lost to Damian Priest. He's not going to be in that U.S. title picture. Get him over to SmackDown. And lastly, AJ Styles. Let's move AJ Styles and maybe Omos as well. They're a team. I don't think he needs to be on Raw. He could be on over there. Feud with Roman, maybe. Let's do that. All right. James, you want to go next?
Yeah, so we're doing guys that we want over on SmackDown from Raw, right?
Yep.
So I had The Miz going here. Actually, now that I think about it, he'd probably stay on Raw just because the show is on USA Today that he and Maurice have.
Thought about that.
Huh?
I thought about that as well.
Yeah, so maybe he stays. I guess the main reason here in the note I have is just maybe getting him away from John Morrison if they're not going to be a team anymore or whatever. So maybe you would just have Morrison be the one who moves over to SmackDown. I also had AJ Styles as well.
Mm-hmm.
I think, maybe maybe Omos goes with him just because he can't really be by himself, I think, at this point in his career yet still. But I think you do need to get him back into a title picture there, and I think he would be a good competitor for Roman for sure. I also had Slapjack Shane Thorne as another guy. I know he's kind of working on a new gimmick, has some new gimmick going. So get him on SmackDown, maybe see what you can do with the gimmick over there. I had Ricochet as well. I knew he was doing the thing with Reggie. It was more so just a random thing. I think Ricochet is a solid guy, and I think someone that would benefit from being on SmackDown. And maybe, if SmackDown's the A show now, just from a rating standpoint, obviously it's on Fox. It's on a local channel. Maybe Ricochet would do better, or, having some more eyeballs going that way on him would kind of highlight him a little bit more. I also had Shayna Baszler. I think the trend for me here was just you had a lot of tag teams. You're breaking up some different people, splitting them off, trying to get some new matchups and whatnot. I think, getting Shayna Baszler over and maybe putting her the same thing as Ricochet in front of some, not different eyes, but in front of more eyes or whatever on the local channel with Fox. I think maybe she would benefit for that, and especially if you're trying to break her off and not just get her lumped back into the same storyline when all else may fail or you run out of ideas with Nia, just putting her back with Nia. So those are mine: Miz, AJ Styles, or Morrison. And then I had Slapjack, Ricochet, and Shayna Baszler.
All right. Rob?
Charlotte to SmackDown.
Okay.
Pretty much switching the women's champions.
Yeah.
The second, Morrison.
Yeah, I thought about him. Yeah.
The third, Karrion Kross.
I thought about
benefit from that, yeah.
And then the fourth, almost, so he could team up with someone else.
Okay.
And the last one, Mansoor.
Mansoor, you're gonna split up Ali and Mansoor, sir?
Yeah.
Oh no, they're gonna get their first victory at the Saudi Arabia show, I'm sure. So, because they've been.
So you would think.
So, all right, SmackDown and Raw. Superstars that are currently on the SmackDown roster that we would like to see on Raw. I'll go first, or let's switch it up.
I'll go first.
You'll go first. You go first. Go ahead.
So I had Apollo moving over to Raw just to give him something different to do, I guess. I don't know. He just more of a random move than anything else. But I think you got to start moving. You got to match your roster with who you're moving over to one show, get him over to another show. So, a guy like Apollo, kind of filling in for the role more or less that Ricochet had, not from an athletic standpoint. I mean, even though they're both athletic, but just from where they're kind of at on the roster.
Mm-hmm.
I also had Happy Corbin. I just think he would maybe benefit just being on a different show. Not that, I'm on the Corbin bandwagon. I also had Dominic and Ray. I think you just need to get a tag team over the other way. Just get some fresh faces for those two and on a different show. Ray's pretty synonymous, I guess, with SmackDown, but putting them on Raw with a little bit of a change there. Also, that'll lead into where I go with the tag team scene here in a little bit. But yeah, that'll be my move for the tag teams there. I also had Kevin Owens. There was the whole thing about maybe his contract coming up, what they're gonna do with him. You're gonna have to find something to do for him, and whatever you have done, or maybe he's done everything he can, whatever. You go back to the well with the Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens thing already. Maybe you put him on Raw and see what happens. But then also, sorry about that. Or you can put, I guess, Sami Zayn. If you don't move Kevin Owens, maybe you move a Sami Zayn into that spot. I just think you need to kind of split those guys off. The other one I had was Selena Vega, just to get, if Baszler's going over one way, you get Selena Vega going the other way. Just kind of, swap those two, and, maybe you'll get a better showing for Selena Vega, because since she's come back, I kind of thought they would have done more with her, and they kind of really haven't. She's just kind of been going through the motion so far. So we'll see what they do with her. I think maybe putting her on a different show and giving her something different to do. Maybe she could benefit from that.
Awesome. All right, Rob, you want to go next?
All right. Becky Lynch, trading champions.
Mention that, yeah.
Second, Sami Zayn.
Yeah, makes sense.
Otis.
Okay.
Happy Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one, Bailey.
Yeah, I left Bailey out just because she was injured. I did. They're not gonna draft her. They don't draft injured people generally, so that's kind of why I left her out. But yeah, I kind of thought maybe she should go to Raw.
I kind of thought that too. But again, because she was injured, they figured they wouldn't move her. But I think at the same time, I think you kind of keep her on SmackDown. Just considering the fact that we've kind of seen Charlotte Bailey and stuff already. But if you get her in there with Becky, I don't know when the last time I seen her in there with Becky, but I think that would be kind of a fresh matchup. And then also Becky Belair, I think is something that we still would want to have. I think they both kind of missed each other in that exchange, right? So yeah, she got her, and Belair kind of stepped in after that. So I think you keep Bailey on there for that reason.
Yeah. All right, and then my picks, Cesaro. Hasn't been really used on SmackDown since losing to the Tribal Chief. I think Rob might benefit from him. They're doing some good stuff right now on Raw. Obviously, they're trying to keep the ratings up, keep the networks happy. Put Cesaro in there. He's a winner. Ziggler and Rude, tag team. They're kind of in limbo as well with SmackDown. They haven't really been doing much. Send him over, build that tag division on Raw. Kevin Owens, another guy who's kind of in the feud with Happy Corbin right now. Again, his contract coming up. Send him over to Raw, do something with them. If he's not going to stick around, at least you have someone on Raw who could be a main eventer for at least a little while before his contract comes up.
Yep.
Toni Storm. Toni Storm barely been on SmackDown since she showed up. They've got a few women that they're not utilizing there. They're obviously focusing on Becky, Bianca, and Sasha now that she's back.
Yeah.
Toni Storm could benefit over on Raw. Feud with Charlotte. That'd be interesting. We haven't seen that happen.
Yeah.
And then lastly, I just went with Finn Balor. He just lost to Roman. Not saying he doesn't have anything left to do on SmackDown. Right. He just got back. But I don't know. I think maybe he could benefit on Raw as well. He's someone who's obviously a key player. Obviously, they trust him to be in a main event with Roman. And obviously, they protected him or attempted to protect him with the Demon loss there. So I think they could use him over on Raw there. So, NXT call-ups. 5 NXT call-ups. Rob, you want to go first here?
Okay. Frankie Monet.
Okay. Yeah. Not that was gonna consider her as well.
Shantae Adonis.
Oh, Ashanti. There's a rumor. There's a potential rumor they might be getting called up.
Who is that again?
Hit row.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
All right,
No.
next.
I kind of like the idea of King Nakamura getting interaction with Kushida.
Kushida could be. He's one of the 1.0 guys. Yeah.
And then Kyle O'Reilly.
Yeah.
And then I feel LA Knight would be the next one to go after the U.S. title.
That makes the most sense to me. Should I go next or you, James?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. LA Knight. He was main roster already when he got here. Like, he's just setting him up already. Dakota Kai. She's won the tag team titles, and it looks like she's probably not going to get in that title picture, after losing to Raquel. Move her up. Austin Theory. He's kind of been in limbo. He was rumored to be kind of going there. Send him up already. Cameron Grimes. I don't know what they're going to do with Cameron Grimes either. Send him up. I think they're going to do a huge call-up for a lot of NXT individuals. And then Raquel Gonzalez.
Yeah.
It looks like Mandy Rose might be coming after that championship.
Yeah, I don't know if Mandy Rose is the one who's supposed to beat her, though. That's the thing. Who do you have to beat Raquel? I mean, the only one who I would have thought had a chance, they let go, right? Blanking on the name right now, but what was her name? I forget.
Mercedes Martinez.
Yeah, Mercedes Martinez would have been the only other one I would have gone with to beat her, just from the size comparison. Anyways, so my picks, I had what are they? El Fantasma? Is that
Legado del Fantasma?
Yeah, I would have moved them up. Just again, I mentioned Ray and Dominic moving. I think you kind of have them kind of come over onto SmackDown and kind of be that new tag team for that division. And then I also had LA Knight. I think you move LA Knight up and you just bury him on Raw. And just then he's forgotten and just you don't have to worry about him ever again, right?
Say it with me, James. L.A. Knight.
It goes to Raw and gets buried. And then Cameron Grimes. I think, obviously the superstar, he's just waiting to happen. And waiting to whatever's in store for his bright future.
24/7 division.
I think you move Cameron Grimes up. I think he comes in the first night, immediately wins something like the Intercontinental title or the United States title. I think Cameron Grimes is going to get the rocket on his back. And I think a year or two from now, he's going to be in the WWE title picture.
He's going to be the WWE 24/7 title picture.
I kind of lumped in the tag team there for NXT as my three guys hit the five. But I think you guys made some good points with Raquel Gonzalez or Dakota Kai. I also thought about Austin Theory. They kind of had him up there a little too fast, but I guess I was just still kind of curious to see what they do with that thing. I don't know if he's no longer doing anything with Johnny Gargano or whatever, but I know like Ciampa, I know Gargano, those guys aren't really wanting to move, so there's that. And then I just kind of see where they go from there. But I think you put the rocket on Cameron Grimes.
Absolutely not. Anyways,
Why not?
this Friday on SmackDown kicks off the first night of the draft. Monday is for Raw, the second part. And we'll see where everyone gets drafted. And now we have just enough time for Rob and James. Go ahead. I acknowledge Roman Reigns. Go ahead. Go ahead, Rob.
Wow, Rob, what are you doing?
What? Is that a Capri Sun? Okay, go ahead. Go ahead, sir. Say it. Say it, Rob. Say it.
James, aren't you joining the tribe?
Go ahead. You do it first.
Come on now.
Remember, he put the light on Main Event Jay.
That's right. So go ahead, Rob. Just say those words. Say those 4 words. I acknowledge Roman Reigns.
James, you're not going to say something?
Come on.
He's telling you to go. Go. Ethan's waiting for you.
We have 37 seconds.
Oh, my goodness.
Rob.
You acknowledge Roman Reigns?
Is that what you're doing?
So, I mean,
I think Rob did it.
I think Rob did it. I think he has him in his background.
I acknowledge that Roman Reigns is a cheater.
10 seconds.
I acknowledged him for what he is, a cheat. He
We're gonna have to
gimmicked the
continue.
turnbuckle.
We're gonna continue this next week.
No, he
Until
gimmicked the
then,
turnbuckle.
I'm outta here.
And the Usos, had they cheated? No.
I'll too sweet you. I'll
No.
too sweet you, Rob. I'm not too
No.
sweeting this
No,
guy over
no,
here.
no.
Bye.